We are live.
So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this week's Socratic dialogue. So, before we start, let's introduce ourselves.
Hello everyone, my name is Ananya Agarwal and I'm the coach for Team Equivision.
Hi everyone, my name is Suchanda Datto and I am a team member of Team Equivision.
Hi everyone, my name is Disha Talukdar. I'm a team member of Team Incubation.
Hello everyone, I'm Anna Baklikar this side. I will be the coach for Team Balancing Horizon.
Hi everyone, I'm Daita. I'm a part of Team Balancing Horizon.
Good evening, everyone. This is Nandini, and I am part of the team Balancing Horizons.
Good evening, everybody. I am Roshni Chawla and I'll be the moderator for this week's Socratic dialogue.
Hi everyone, I'm Shubham Dokre and I'm going to be the co-mod of today's Socratic dialogue. So let's start. The topic of today's Socratic dialogue is affirmative actions, and we have two teams, Equivision and Balancing Horizons. So which team would like to go first to share their pitch?
We would like to go first.
Sure. Before you share your pitch, please explain why you have chosen the name Equivision, followed by a short summary of your pitch.
Okay, so our team's name is Equivision because Equivision stands for equality with vision. So our name reflects the belief that equality is not just about the fairness that we have today, but also about building a clear vision for a just and an inclusive future. So like where every individual's potential can shine. So this is why we chose the name Team Equivision. Starting with our presentation. So equality is not something that we can just turn a switch on. Like it has to keep evolving with the society. And for years, inequality has blocked talent. And when systems opened, hidden abilities came forward. Like if in a class, where every student needs the teacher's attention, discrimination denies the chance to some, and it gives extra chance to some other students. So the it hides the real merit from all. Over to Disha.
So we often imagine equality is something instant, but real life doesn't work like that. Like think of a class where some students already know the basic, but others are struggling. Where if teachers think like that every student must perform equally, so obviously nothing changes. So just like that, extra classes like help weaker students. Same like that, if a society needs systems like reservation, not forever, but until everyone start from the same line. Moving to next slide. So the main question is that does merit really shows itself if only a few get chances? Because discrimination block talents in two ways. First is someone are pushing down and others are lifted unfairly. So imagine a teacher who only pays attention to the front row. Of course, they will shine, but does that mean that backbenchers lack talent? Or does that mean that society never gave them a chance? Moving to next slide. So equality isn't a quick fix. It's need a patient support. Think of a tuition class where some students need that extra push to catch up. Reservations work the same way. It helps temporary, but not the permanent solution. But the main question is like, what happens if we keep them forever or remove them too early? The balance of step by step is what society must need to decide. Over to you, Suchanda.
So some people think affirmative action is a problem, but in reality, it helps talent to that is blocked and discriminate, and it helps to aim them forward. And in India, things like reservation in schools and jobs have given many people the chance to show their real ability. It's not about lowering the standards, it's about opening the doors. Moving forward. So many believes that affirmative action reduces the merit. The truth is, discrimination hides the real talent before it even gets noticed. So when everyone gets the same chance, hidden talent comes out and performance that improves, and it's not about making things easy, it's about making things fair. Moving forward. So affirmative action is not charity, it's justice. It makes makes sure that no potential is wasted and everyone gets a fair chance. The goal is not to keep it forever, but to help until there is a true equality is reached. After that, this system won't be needed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Team Equivision. And the question box is open for Team Balancing Horizons. So who would like to go first?
I would like to go first with a question. You mentioned that affirmative action after one point won't be necessary in the society. Does that mean there won't be any inequality in the society in future?
We cannot necessarily say that there won't be any inequality, but affirmative actions help us to uplift those who were discriminated or disadvantaged. So, in a way, they have been uplifted now. So, we can slowly try to reduce those reservations. But obviously, inequality may exist in some form. So, that's why we said that equality has evolved with society. Inequality earlier days something different, and in today's time it might look something different.
So that means we need some form of affirmative action, right? Or is it's not necessary at all?
I'm not saying that we have to remove it completely, but we can try changing it, maybe reducing it, maybe thinking from the perspectives of other people as well, the inequalities that we are being faced with today.
Does that answer your
I'm so sorry. My network just went a bit astray. Can you repeat yourself once?
We don't have to complete. We are not saying that we completely remove the affirmative actions, but a constant change is the only constant. So we need to change some of the policies. We might need to reduce some of the reservations. So we have to keep evolving with the inequalities that might be faced today.
Got my answer. Thank you.
So who would like to go next?
Yeah, so how would you respond to the people who are against reservations, right? So they think that it is decreasing their chance for a fair chance in order to increase the, discouraged communities' chance.
Okay, so response is one thing. I think there is everyone perspective, no? We can't change anyone's perspective by force or anything. Maybe they are thinking about this in a way they are thinking because they may be not getting some chance. They are thinking ki some privileged persons also from backward community or anything you are saying. So they are getting chance. They are feeling it is not right or something. They have their own reason for it. So it is not always about giving them a hard feedback or hard response ki no, it is right. It's about ki how it's about the approach. Like they are thinking on their way, that's it's fine, but they also maybe someday around they also feel ki there are some other things also where uh, someone is getting bullied or something like that. They're also they are not equal. They are maybe they are weak. They are also feeling that okay, they need some support. So that's how maybe we can help them to understand that people need support when they are somewhere around weak. It is not dependent to what if maybe you are in a perspective where you are thinking ki you are not getting the right thing because you are in a good position and someone is not and someone is using that power. But in somewhere around maybe you are also on a same situation but in a different way. So we need to approach them like this.
Okay.
Any more
Any follow-up questions?
I have a question, not the follow-up, but a question. Uh, let's say if society is always changing, let's say there are new technologies, new jobs, and new cultures, then the meaning of equality also shifts. What looked as equal before, like 50 years ago, may feel unequal today. So, the question is that can equality ever be permanent, like a box we tick for now, and it should last for years and years?
Like I mentioned, that equality keeps evolving. You cannot say that if this was equal few years back, this will be equality in future as well. So that is what, like, we started our pitch with, that we have to keep evolving with the society, with the inequalities, so that fairness is maintained.
I have a follow-up question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So by this statement, the society cannot achieve equality. Like there will be any form of inequality always going on. So equal society is just unattainable or a utopia.
We can't make a judgment like this because as we all saying ki, time is evolving and everything is evolving and people's mindset and everything is changing with time. Uh, Previously, um, even a when a student or anyone is bullying, people think like it's only a normal thing. They don't give a listen to them or give them a chance. But nowadays it is even taken care of. Like even in a college, if someone is bullying someone, it is very much prohibited, right? There are laws and all of that. So time to time, people are understanding ki what is equality is, where it should be, where there should be a line. Like everywhere, definitely there are some inequality there, but there is one thin line. There should be a one border that a person should not cross that border. And with that personality or with that thinking, slowly, I think people will get to that position where they will think there will be one certain kind of equality where that will be not too harsh to people. Ki it can ruin someone's life or it can ruin someone's chances.
Does that answer your question, Anjali?
Sort of. My point was that, as Ananya mentioned, that due to new technologies coming up and constant evolution, new forms of inequality is forming in the society, and that's why evolution is going on. So, with coming up of new inequalities, will society always remain like even in future? Will we always have some form of inequality?
Nandini,
Or
can we have the questions more focused in the organizational context? I think we're not trying to have a very broad discussion, right? We're trying to have a discussion in the context of our work, in the context of how we run organizations, right? So the questions can be more focused in that context, right? Equality within the organization, equality within our own team. Otherwise, it'll just be broad opinion that we are speaking with no implementation context coming in, right?
makes sense. Then it answers my question.
Okay, back to question box for question. Question box.
Okay, so when we talk about using affirmative actions, do you think that it will somewhere or the other it will create a sort of dependency among the members, that no matter what they do, they will get an affirmative, affirmation at the end?
Daita, that's a very good question. Can we take an example in a team context? I think we'll have a better discussion if we can take an example.
Okay, so let's say if we are working on a project, we in a project there are many team members. So even if a team member is one particular team member is lacking somewhere, if we have a culture of using affirmative words or giving affirmations to people, will that person think all the time, whichever whatever I do, I
Hey,
will get
Daita,
some sort of
clarification. Affirmative action and affirmative words are not the same. Affirmative action is, some kind of special rights or provisions you make so that the people who are way behind are still
Okay.
having an equal platform to come and participate and compete.
Okay, understood.
But your question still holds. Let's say, Nandini, you have affirmative action within your team, right? There are few people who are not that skilled, so you're giving them extra opportunity. So Daita's question is, what if those people take that for granted and never push and never go to the next level?
Is where affirmative actions, like we have to keep evolving with that. Like people have different skills. So initially we are giving them affirmative actions to uplift them. But we cannot keep giving the exact kind of affirmative actions. Like we need to reduce it step by step so that a person who is at level 5, when they come at level 6, we would want them to come from level 5 to level 8, or if someone is at
Got your
level
point,
4.
Ananya. Back to question box.
Um, so does affirmative action create some like is there chance that it creates some sort of dependency?
Because we are stepping back after a certain point. So after we have given them that opportunity, after we have uplifted them, they are taking a step back. So we are not giving them the same kind of affirmative actions every time.
Any other questions?
Okay, I just want to throw an example here. Let us say, you're talking of, in boards across the world, you see very few women. You don't have many women CEOs, you don't have many women board members. Now, what if as a company you create a policy that I'll have minimum 30% women within the board, or within these leadership positions, minimum 30% women. Is there a possibility that women take it for granted that anyway I will get a leadership position? That was what Daita's question was. No?
It depends upon how many people are fighting for one position. No, like if there are enough competition, then they will not take it for
But
granted.
what if the competition for men is way higher than the competition for women? Possibly say 3 women competing for that one position and 8 men competing for one position.
But there is a different cause of behind giving a woman to uplifting to a CEO.
I'm not questioning whether it is right or wrong. I'm just asking Daita's question. Can it lead to complacency among the women?
Maybe.
Then we can
It
have
will
a
do.
system where we can have a skill check every time, so that if that person is not performing, then we can
Okay,
replace.
question. Let us say there's complacency coming in. What do we do? What can you say if all the women are getting complacent? That's when competition is failing, no? Because there's unity in being complacent. What do we do if all the women have become complacent?
Then I think we need to evolve with time and we need to reduce that 30% into 10%. Otherwise, it is hard to, like, even we are.
So then are you telling me women don't want to work, they should sit at home, produce kids,
No, but
take care of
they
farms?
need to take it seriously. in some point. Like they have something that is definitely men don't have, but that doesn't mean ki if they are getting the
No,
opportunity.
but what is
they
the
should-
question to ask? If everybody is getting complacent, everybody is
If
not. Yeah, yeah.
is the organization not doing something right? Like, can they change their system of hiring or working?
Good point. Fine. Let's say the organization is doing things right only, but still women have gone complacent. What else could have gone wrong? Is it possible that because there's this affirmative action, people are making fun of those women? And women are finding it difficult to prove themselves and be that leader? Then what will you do? If they're under a lot of mental pressure and due to that they're just not able to go ahead. And many of these women who can go to the leadership position are often in their 40s. They may have kids. They're trying to take care of the kids, and that plus this is getting tough. What do you do then?
I think there is some form of affirmative care, as in women like get maternity leave, and
No, no,
they
I'm not
also
saying they're giving birth to kids. I'm saying they have kids, right? And they're not able to spend as much time because they have to go back home, and they're worried about their kids. They want to go back home and see their kids.
I think the solution shouldn't be to deny the opportunity, but to redesign the workflow of that workplace.
Correct?
If
Maybe have a crash, maybe have a crash within the office itself, so that the school bus can drop the kids in the office
Exactly.
and have some play area for the kids to play, have fun, so that the women employees don't have to worry ki where are my kids.
Exactly.
That's a great
Isn't
point.
it
Yeah. Yeah.
isn't it increasing the hiring cost for the company for a woman? Like they have to give extra things.
Okay,
Actually,
let me ask you a question. Yeah, go ahead, Ananya.
actually, industrial laws have compulsorily asked for this crash system in the factories or office for women. So I don't think this is an extra spending for the company, but rather we can say as an investment.
She's
Right.
company secretary course, no? So
But
that's
is it only for women? Even if man is also married, it is also his responsibility of his child. So
not
it is
questioning that,
not.
but in general with men, right? I'm just seeing, right? In general with men, they're perfectly okay with going home at 12 o'clock and not even seeing whether the kids are okay or not. That's the maternal instinct, right? Generally, women are more concerned. I want to see my kids. I can't stay here when my kids are at home. Don't know what they're doing, what they're breaking at home, right? So, but see, think about it, Ananya. Like, if you're spending more on this crash and giving this facility, and that woman feels very empowered in that office, how much will that woman want to contribute to the company out of that gratitude? So,
Right.
in general, research studies have proved that people who come through affirmative action, right, they want to prove a point. They give way more effort than people who didn't get it because they know that getting this opportunity is very tough. Here I got the opportunity because of affirmative action. But in general, I would not have got the opportunity. So they have a P2P point to prove. Does that answer Daita's question? But if despite the P2P, if people are not delivering, what do you do? That takes us to Ananya's answer. What do you do? Despite if your affirmative action is not, see, people despite the affirmative action, people are not doing it. What does it mean? The affirmative action has failed, no? So what do we do if the affirmative action has failed?
redesign the affirmative action.
Exactly. And how do we go about redesigning the affirmative action?
See where it went wrong. and then we
Ananya,
fix it.
Ananya brought a very interesting point. What are the constraints within our system? How is our system constraining the people? And instead of asking people to fit into the system
System is fitting.
the crash and all of these, that's why you brought those ideas, right? You're improving, refining the system itself to be more inclusive. I think Anushri or somebody was making this point in an SD earlier, right? No, I think one of the psychology students was making it that many of the spaces around us are not inclusive for disabled people. OV was making this point. OV was making this point, right? That many of the spaces are designed by people who probably did. I mean, she was saying, imagine that somebody doesn't like disabled people, and that person designs a restaurant in a way that disabled people can't enter at all. That person may have died, it is 50 years, and the restaurant is in the same way. Still, disabled people won't be able to come. Because the system was designed in a way that disabled people can't come, right? The system was designed to not be inclusive. So that's a very powerful thought, Ananya, that you brought into. How do we change the system itself so that it can be inclusive? Because all of this goes back to one assumption, right? What is that one assumption? When you're saying the fault is not in the people, the fault is in my system, I want to change my system so that people deliver. What is that assumption you're making there? That every human
has the potential to improve, but they need the right systems.
exactly.
They need the place.
Every human wants to grow, and every human has the right to grow to their fullest potential. One question I have for both the teams is, what can you tell about a system which does not give people the right to grow?
That system will only not grow if if they are
That
not
is
letting.
okay, but what can you tell about the system? It is called feudalism. There's a king and there's a zamindar and all of that. And in general, regions which had feudal influence did not grow for a large part of time. But in democratic institutions, when we build democratic institutions, we believe that people have the right to grow. So then as a team leader, when you're building your team, the question to ask is, does every member of your team have the right to grow? So if every member has the right to grow, if that is the premise, then how do we go about designing our systems, designing our processes? Not asking the question, why didn't Disha Talukdar do it? But asking the question,
Why was she not able to do it?
what was stopping her from doing it? How can I enable her to do it? Asking the enabling question rather than asking the judgmental question, ki, is she good enough to do it? Of course, there's limit of patience. Beyond that, you change people. But to always ask that question, right? How can I enable people? So I think we can, take some reflections here.
We have the other team left for their pitch.
But okay, yeah, go ahead.
So what to team Balancing Horizon for the pitch?
Yeah.
Okay. Ananya, are you sharing the screen?
No, you can directly pitch without showing your presentation.
Okay. So to summarize our pitch, our presentation shows that equality isn't just about giving everyone the same thing. It's about equity. We talk about giving people the right support so everyone has a fair start. So we say everyone should be equal, but giving everyone the exact same thing isn't really fair, right? So real fairness means equity, giving people what they need to reach the same starting
You have an
level.
example for it? Team, do you have an example for it? I mean, the idea is great, but do you have an example for it? No?
Yeah,
Yeah,
as in for equality means, for example, that we are creating, let's say, your disabled example. We have a stadium where everyone can cut the ticket and just go. Everyone is free to do so. But we do not have solid ramps where wheelchairs can roll onto. So even if there's equality, there's no equity there. So even if both of them have the same feature, then both the sections aren't uplifted together. So equality isn't justice, equity is. So we have to make sure to give some upliftment in form of others to create or maintain a balance. Or we can also take the example of race tracks that to cover a shorter distance, people are pushed a bit behind. So even if the head starts aren't equal, they will know how to finish the track in time. So these are some of the examples.
understood. Over to question box.
I have a question that like should the workplace equality means like giving every employee the same resources or like giving each one of them what they actually needs to be succeed?
Of course, the second one, right? That's how fairness and justice will be ensured. We are trying to promote the
Got your
concept of
answer, back to
equity.
question box.
Okay, so if we are even building a system which is enabling them to deliver better, but still we are finding some loop where we can see ki, okay, they are not delivering how much they can, and they are using this affirmative thing as an opportunity. Then what to do, and how we can remove this thing, like how we can inculcate their mindset, how we can change their mindset.
Redesign the affirmative system. And as in the previous discussion, we already discussed that people who do receive some sort of affirmative care, they tend to acknowledge that whatever way they have been uplifted, they will acknowledge the value and work accordingly. And even if it fails, we need to see why they are not like and how we can enable them.
If there are, for say, two employees in a company and you're giving some sort of advantage to one employee, won't the other feel that this is inequality for me? Like, would they feel that they are not getting fair treatment? So, how will you address that issue?
I think there would be some certain statement that why is the resentment being built? If you are feeling that they are getting advantage and I am not, maybe then we have to check that if they need the care as well, or is it coming out of something which is lack of moral values? Like people often feel, let's say, for an example, a woman is being promoted or there's a reservation, men might feel that they are qualified and they are lacking behind. So so we need to see if the resentment is actually valid and we need to work on it. And also in an organization, we can have some certain drills where people acknowledge that why is a woman given the opportunity or why the people who are lacking that they are given this affirmative care and make people aware of their position and privilege, right? Like for example, in examinations, mainly CBSE examination, diabetic patients, students are given snacks so their blood sugar doesn't drop. But we are not allowed to carry snacks. So if we question the system that why we are not allowed to carry the snacks, that's kind of doesn't make sense, right? Because we are not the person who actually is suffering from an illness. So this kind of awareness should be there in the team.
Got you, Nandini. Back to question box.
I have a question that would we still call it merit? Like if like there is a two employees, but like they both are giving the same efforts, but
Got the question.
one.
Got the question back to answer box.
Okay, so you mean that there are two employees, they're working the same, but a person, like let's say person A and B are working the same kind of thing, and person A is getting some benefits and some perks, right? That would be a very rare case. That would be we can
No, but that would be the case if you give affirmative action.
okay, if that would be the case, then we should actually first see what benefits if, the person is given, why it is given. Let's say person A and B are working the same, but person A is working smart, and the output
So,
which he
Ananya,
is.
let's take the women example.
Okay.
There's one man who worked very hard.
Hmm.
There's a woman who worked very hard. But due to the affirmative action, the woman got the vice president position. So would it be merit? That is Disha's question.
I think more context is needed.
Let's say Nandini worked very hard, Shubham Dokre worked very hard. And deep thought is a policy. Okay, deep thought means should be ulta, men should be given. But let's say there's a policy that we'll have minimum these many women team leaders. So even though Shubham and Nandini went to the same level, Nandini is given team leader position. Would that be merit? That's Disha's question.
Am I facing any form of other, like the question should come that if I'm facing any form of discrimination or any sort of struggles to reach
That's
this
why affirmative
position?
action was brought in. No, in that company, women are less, and in that company, generally there are no women leaders. You're brought in to bring representation among leaders for women, among representation of women
Yeah.
in leadership positions.
So yeah, then it's valid because it will motivate other women and give a
The
space
question
for
is
the
not
women.
whether it is valid or invalid. Question is it merit? So are you to say that the achievement of Shubham and Nandini both delivered the same performance, right, in terms of KPIs? Is the achievement same for both?
I think here then the point comes that it will not it will not be about the work or the hard work. Let's say it will be about, let's say Dandini as a woman, she had to come over with some stereotypes or some biases, and giving her the position would work here, right? That might not be injustice or unfair, I think.
Exactly, it depends on how you define merit, right? One way of defining merit is the KPI. Another way of defining merit is what is the delta that each person achieved. And one other question to ask is, if Shubham Dokre has more compassion, where he is able to feel the other's pain as his own pain, and B, if Shubham Dokre is given enough enablement where he is able to grow, he has his KPIs, he is able to see progress in his career, would he be feeling unfair when Nandini gets the promotion?
I don't think so. No.
Then how do you handle this concept, problem of people feeling unfair then due to affirmative action?
Shubham has a value in him that he acknowledges his privilege or he acknowledges checkpoint, but not everyone might have it. So it's the organization can help to inculcate these values, make people aware
No,
that
but you getting one thing wrong, Nandini. If his stomach is empty, he can't understand values and all. He may not get the position, but what is it that you have to ensure?
he's feeling acknowledged, his efforts were not
He knows
demoralized.
that this time I didn't get, at least next January I should get it. If he loses hope, that's when he gets into these problems, right? To show him progress.
Like me getting a position shouldn't make him feel undermined anyway. He shouldn't feel like he lost something.
That is the end of the road for him.
Got it.
As long as he has hope, he's very focused on what he has to do, right? He doesn't have time to sit and think and cry over Nandini. But when people feel like their own progress is threatened, even the most forward-looking people can feel unfair and can undermine the affirmative action that you want to bring in. This is very sensitive.
So I have a follow-up question, like, do we measure the merit only by the result or also by the condition that made those results possible?
Back to answer box.
I would say second one.
Yeah, we would also consider the conditions that both of them or
But
the
how does that help the company with improving performance?
And every individual have like different set of growth patterns, right? So even if
But
the
how does that help
KPIs
the
are,
company? How does that help the company? For the company, KPIs are what help with growth, right?
if the employees are growing, then the companies will also grow, right? Like if the small scale growth is occurring,
No,
then the
but
large
why
scale
are you giving special privileges? Let them grow. No, without special privilege, only let them grow.
special privileges might boost the growth more
But why do you need special privileges for growth?
to create balance and harmony.
So see, if a Disha Talukdar had problems with English and she's competing with, let's say, a Suchanda, or let's say she's competing with a Nandini who didn't have problems with English, and both have come to an equal level, and you give a preferential treatment to Disha because she didn't have that resource. How quickly will she move from this position to the next position? With a disadvantage, she's already come equal to another person who didn't have a disadvantage. From here, she grows even faster, right?
Mm.
So it's like this. There's a person who's a Harley Davidson. That Harley Davidson is going on a village road. There's another person who's an Activa going on the national highway. The world is saying the Activa is merit. Why? Because the Activa is going on national
national
highway.
highway.
But what is this company telling? Arey, that Harley Davidson is going on Kacha road. I'll get that Harley Davidson and put that Harley Davidson on my highway. Once I put that Harley Davidson on my highway, and I'll tell you the other side of it. Now you're a company who will do affirmative action and create these opportunities. Now the people for whom you're creating opportunities, would those people be hired for the same opportunity by your competitors? No, right? Because your competitors hire based on merit. So are you having a superior talent pool? Why?
because we are hiring based on potential and we can refine it.
You are hiring certain people whom the society has already written off. And you're able to give them an opportunity, you're able to tell them that, see, don't worry about your English, don't worry about all these things. Show me the delta. Show me the improvement. I will create opportunities for you. Then people will start punching above their weight because they can see hope. No, I will get an opportunity. And when people are growing very fast, what is happening?
Organization growth.
The market ignored that person, but that person came to a certain position quickly. So you're creating a talent pool. This is a very important concept because when I see many businesses, right, the problem is they hire only based on skill. And they lose a lot of talent in the market due to that. Because skilled talent is always scarce in any economy, unless you're in Silicon Valley. Even there's a shortage of talent. So I think that was a very beautiful points both the teams brought in. We can move into reflections, I suppose. Who wants to go in?
Yeah, so I would like to go first. So from this discussion overall, would be able to uh, learn that uh, if somebody have the potential and they're willing to push themselves uh, by recognizing their potential, uh, so and if they're getting right resources and opportunities, they can grow higher. And with this discussion, we got to know that in organizational level how we can grow uh, like each other as a team and also uh, with like ourselves also.
Okay.
I want to go next.
Yeah.
So in this discussion, what I understand, the affirmative action is not a disadvantage for any organization. It is an advantage. It helps the organization to grab those talents which are out there, and no one is understanding how much they can potentially get from those talents. So rather than thinking about the affirmative action is a disadvantage for organization or for even in the society, it is not. It is an advantage.
And Suchanda, when you have people in the organization where you give affirmative action, does it motivate the other people?
Definitely.
How?
They also will understand that this organization will not think like what are my weaknesses are. They will think what are my potential and what are my strengths are, and they will
Other than
let
that,
me.
let's say, oh yeah, that's a beautiful point, Suchanda, but I want to draw your attention. Let's say the organization hires a person whose English is not good.
Right.
But that person is showing great thought process. What impact does it have on the other people in the organization? When this person is working very hard. If you have a colleague in Deep Thought itself, you have a colleague whose English is not great, but that person is hired and that person is your teammate and that person is working very hard every day. What kind of influence does it have on you?
I also wanted to be like, I also wanted to work hard like him or hard. So it is like, it will be
But do you
also
feel good? Would you feel good due to that?
definitely.
Why would you feel good?
It will also bring me that idea that this organization always push the equality and don't look up on the weaknesses, no?
You feel like we have created an opportunity, right?
Right.
So that I think is very powerful because Yugandhar sir told me this in I think 2020. Since then, we've always been taking it very seriously that if at all there's somebody who's punching way above the weight and trying very hard, right? even if they don't have the skill, we want to go ahead and hire. Purely because that person is putting that kind of effort. And the thought process is, okay, एक salary extra जा रहा है, जाने दो. But that one salary will motivate all the other 19 salaries or 20 salaries. It's a cultural investment you're making. That's how, we started doing calculations in deep thought. कि चलो थोड़ा सा stipend देना दे देंगे. But let's have that one person in the entire system who's going to change the dynamic in the organization, right? Who's going to make everybody feel very positive. I mean, that's a pure finance calculation. कि I'm investing this much and it's pushing up people. हर किसी का productivity 10% बढ़ गया. I'm getting this much return by putting this much cost. That's a different economics altogether. Yeah, we'll take 2 more reflections and preferably from people who are not in the main SD. Who wants to go in? What did you realize in the SD in your breakout room? Come on, folks, who wants to go in? It was a lovely discussion. So be nice if you can speak up what you gathered. Who wants to go in? We're all quiet. So we need some affirmative action to address this problem. People feel, okay, my language is not up to the mark or my ideas are not up to the mark. I will not speak in front of 30 people. Come on, who wants to go in? Now, this is affirmative action, right? We said that we're not going to allow the main stage SD participants to talk. So people in the breakout rooms are pushed to talk. Or for the same reason why in DT generally team leaders don't talk. If we start talking, we'll only talk, the other people won't talk. That's also kind of silent affirmative action, right? Now Shagun is giggling. So that's why she doesn't talk, even though she has a lot of points to talk. Come on, who wants to go in from the breakout rooms? I'm sure you have ideas. Just unmute and speak. We listen to 2 reflections before closing. That's something we always do so that we conclude the right way. Who wants to go in? Come on, folks. Yeah.
So affirmative actions I found through the SD, like it's not something which is bad or something which is should be looked down upon. Rather, it's something which gives people the potential to realize their potential and give their best, so that they can also compete or come to the position where they think the society has not led them to be. So that is very important for the organization to grow as well, and even the individual to grow, because when the individual grows, he definitely pulls like gives his best in the organization, and that's where the organization grows, and that's the culture that we build in that organization.
Absolutely, because affirmative action maximizes competition, right?
Right.
Because it brings everybody into the competition. Fantastic. Dalia says that's enabling everybody to come and compete, not just a few. Who's going next? It'll be good if one of the observers wants to go in. Now we'll take affirmative action to the next level. One of the observers can go in. Who wants to go in? If you're really here for growth, I think it's important that you express your thoughts and, be very proactive. Who wants to go in among the observers? So the dialogue didn't, strike any chord with you. You couldn't relate with it, or if you could relate, just unmute yourself, share what you gathered from it.
Sir, one thing I realized during this time was that affirmative action can bring a lot of different voices to the table that normally wouldn't be able to get there that easily. So that diversifies the uh, type of opinions and ideas that we will get. Uh,
Absolutely. Affirmative action may, that's, I think, a plus point, right? You're bringing diversity to the table, right? So some ideas that you would have never thought of, as you rightly said, you get them. So now, Drishti, I have one question for you. I mean, since you're an observer, a lot of observers would be thinking, Arey, why are they talking all of this? Aren't we supposed to be discussing work? So how is this connected to our work?
so as you were talking about decentralization earlier, so within the organization, we will have all of us will at some point get chances to lead other teams. So all of this is necessary information for us to be good leaders.
Drishti, I'll tell you something, some of the best organizations in the world,
Yeah.
they become very toxic eventually.
Yeah.
You know why? They hire only the best.
Yeah, people who are already to that point.
And they're all competing.
Yeah.
They're not in a position to support each other. So people's mental health deteriorates, it gets very toxic.
Yeah.
So for organizations to truly scale, leaders require this affirmative action kind of thought process in the work of how you lead your team. Otherwise, as a leader, right, you become a very judgmental leader.
Yeah.
You get good people, you're like, okay, I like them, I'll get work out of them. Somebody's not able to deliver,
You let them go, or you
let them go and you look for another person or you judge. I'll give you an example, right? I mean, I'll give a public example. Is Mariam here? No? Okay. So there was this thing, somebody came up and said, Mariam's image generation skills are weak. We're not getting the output. Most organizations would say this person is not skilled. Let's find a person who's skilled.
Yeah.
But the particular team leader said, what can we do to enable her to, pick this up? You get it, right? The difference in the leader's thought process changes. And let's say you're doing something for the end user. One way we could do is we could judge the end user. उससे नहीं हो पा रहा है. Another school of thought is,
I didn't understand.
one school, see, let's say I'm making an app, right?
Yeah.
One way is to say the user is so bad, the user is not able to use my app. Another way to say is,
That my
I'll
app
improve my
is,
app.
yeah.
I'll make my app more inclusive.
Yes.
I'll give you an example. In DT selection process, earlier we were not inclusive. An observer comes, observer doesn't understand, we don't care. The one who's able to understand, the one who's putting the effort, will hire. The one who's not putting the effort,
Won't be hired.
bye-bye. We anyway have 1,000 applications. We'll pick the 2 or 3, the others bye-bye. But now deep thought is trying to bring an inclusive thought process. How can we communicate this to the other people so the other people also put an effort? So one part of the inclusive thought process was adding that self-gratitude, contribution journal, and all of that. Because we realized many of the people are not putting that effort, not because they're less capable.
But they're self-critical.
There's a lot of negativity inside the brain.
I have struggled with that. So yeah.
So we thought, how can we bring that? But again, we've seen another problem. There's indifference. Like right now, when I see the body language, there are some people who are excited. There are some people who are pondering with deep thought, like thinking very deeply, what's going on. And there are some people who are like, what the hell are they talking? Why are they talking all this? The third kind is indifference.
So then those kind are not like the people we need. You need then.
That is exactly the opposite of the thought process we are trying to have here, right?
Like they are indifferent, so they are not putting in effort. No, if you are not knowing.
Okay, I'll ask this question to everybody. If you are trying to be inclusive, what is the question you'll ask? Why is that person indifferent? Why is that person not showing interest?
Oh,
You know why that person is indifferent? That person is not self-aware. That person has a limited world. That person is only seeing, chalo, give me some work to do, some task to do, I'll complete the task. That person is not having a broader outlook of where am I, how am I fitting into the economy, what is my role, how am I going to grow. That person's career thought process is very narrow. How will I get a job?
yeah.
The person's career thought process is not, okay, I'll anyway get a job. But how do I grow in the next 20, 30 years? The moment we bring that thought process, problem is solved. So we're trying to ask this question, how can I break that indifference?
Yes, I was asking that only.
Today morning, when I was exercising, I got this idea. I thought we'll make a nice video where we'll say, imagine there's a restaurant. There are 20 chefs or 20 people who are cooking in the restaurant. And 50 people are serving food in the restaurant. And there's one guy who's making all the menu, who's designing the new items. And there's one guy who's designing how the customers should be handled. And there are 4 guys who are designing systems and making sure these ideas are implemented at scale. What did I say? There are 2 innovation guys. One innovation guy is designing the recipe and all of that. One innovation guy is designing the experience for the customer. 2 system guys are designing how the 20 chefs should cook system, how that recipe has to be followed by everybody. And 2 systems guys are designing a system of how the 50 people will receive the customers. I want to make this video and show it to people. Do you want to be in the 70 people or do you want to be in the 6 people? What are the 70 people doing? Copy paste job. If I'm in the 20 chefs, what am I doing? They gave me recipe, exactly that recipe. What do? I'll exactly. If I'm in the 20 chefs, right? Am I supposed to innovate?
No.
What will I do?
Follow the recipe.
Follow the instructions.
Follow the recipe. But if I'm in that one main guy, that main chef, what will I do?
Experiment.
Innovate. Ideas, structures.
Exactly. So the question I want to ask people is, do you want a copy paste job?
No.
If you're not careful, that is exactly what you'll get. You don't believe me? Ask your elder brother, elder sister, or someone who's working in corporates. 90% of India is doing copy paste jobs. I want to start with this and say, if you don't want that copy paste job, you want to be in the 10%, your mindset needs to radically shift. Are you willing to shift that mindset? The moment this narrative is driven, slowly that indifference will
Go away.
where people are like, okay, I need to change myself. If I have to change myself, my outlook has to be broader, where I have to start connecting things. I have to start debating things.
Yes, I understand better now.
You understand, but still I see indifference in some of them. Now that indifference, how to break, I'm thinking. One more way I thought is, on day 1, instead of bringing them to a Zoom call where they listen in front of 30 people, can I send them to a Meta SD with only 3 people in each breakout room?
Yeah.
But there again, I had a doubt. If I send 2 indifferent people in a breakout room, instead of discussing and doing a Socratic dialogue, they'll be like, does this company do real work? What do they do? They'll get into all that nonsense. 2 indifferent people, they'll do bullshit. So I'm now thinking of a solution of how do I bring quality and yet decentralize for observers? Because we've observed one thing, Drishti, we've seen data. When I have 25 observers on the same day, only 3 or 4 get impacted. When I have 10 to 12 observers, 6 to 7 get impacted. When we have large number of observers, the orientation is ineffective. I don't know why we're still trying to figure that out, but we saw this data to understand. Now you understand what is inclusion?
Yes.
One way is to say they're bad. Fine. But another way is to say,
What can I do different to?
because Deep Thought wants to create the talent pool for India. Today may be hiring only 6 to 8 people per month. But 1 year down the line, Deep Thought will be hiring 50 people per month.
Yeah.
So slowly we want the hiring system to get better, because the Deep Thought hiring system is not hiring system. Deep Thought hiring system is transformation system, transforming people, and the people who get transformed, we will hire.
Yes.
So how do I improve my transformation system so that more people get transformed?
Yes.
That's the question that an inclusive person would ask. It's okay. I'm not saying that the candidate failed. I'm saying that even I failed along with the candidate. Yeah, Pratik, you had to say something. Yeah. You wanted to say something? Please go ahead.
Yeah, Tarun, you mentioned that 90% of the organization's workers are actually copy paste the thing. So when I asked this question from my elder brother. He used to work in a CA firm. He said that he experimented that recipe and he just got laid off from the three organizations. So isn't that prototype we had in our mind that if we go for the experiment, we got laid off from the company so that we have to follow the rituals
In
and
the
follow
wrong
the
team.
our
It's in the wrong team.
wrong. Maybe I guess like when I asked that,
No. You're not
what if
listening to me. You're not listening to me. Organizations are designed this way that there are implementation teams. Implementation teams are expected to implement A to Z without deviations. There are separate teams which are innovation teams. In an innovation team, your brother will be given promotion for doing that experiment. In implementation team, Pratik, you understood?
yeah, I got it.
In implementation team, if you do experiment, what they'll do? Understood. But in
Yeah,
innovation
yeah,
team, you do experiment.
they will appraise you.
So him doing experiment is not the problem. Him joining the
And
wrong
he
team
is
is
in
the
the wrong
problem.
team. Yeah, okay.
Then the next question is, how do I get hired in the innovation team? Very, very tough. To get into Amazon's Scott team, you have to go to a Stanford or a Harvard. Right? So what do people do? They work in smaller startups. They innovate in smaller startups and slowly grow. Either they grow within the startup or from the startup, they grow into a larger organization. Paths open up. Pratik, thank you for the lovely question. Drishti, this is how I'm planning to communicate to people. That do you want to do a copy paste job? Do you want to end up in a job where you get fired for experimenting? Or do you want to end up in a job where you are appreciated for experimenting?
Appreciated. Definitely.
And this is how I want to make people understand what is this, because many people are like, what is this process? You ask me, give me a small code, I'll write the code and give, what is this CAR report? What is this journal? What is this Google sheet? They get confused. So I thought this story can make it easy for people to, sort of understand that it's about, do you want to be in that job where you're, really, encouraged to innovate? Because this point, people don't know that there are special innovation teams.
Yeah.
Even in Amazon, right? You work in Amazon in India, you'll not get to innovate so much. But you work in Amazon's R&D, that's when you'll get to do all these cool things. But there, the hiring process is completely different. Behavioral selection, similar to, Deep Thought selection process was in many ways inspired by Amazon. Our first tech mentor, Gautam Seth, he worked in Amazon's Scott team. He was involved in development of Alexa. So Gautam Seth introduced us to some of these concepts, and we picked some of the concepts of the Amazon's R&D selection process and Deep Thought selection process. These things people don't know, no, because they don't know that there's something called innovation department.
Yeah.
In companies. The R&D department. So where do you think all the new ideas are coming from? If you open Deep Thought's website also, that's what we write in the website. Big companies have innovation department. Your company doesn't have innovation department. I'll make that innovation department for you. You realize the pitch? For a student who's not going to a Harvard or a Stanford, Amazon is not taking you as an innovation person. For a small company, you don't have an innovation person. What is Deep Thought telling? अरे दोनों साथ में काम कर लो. You will get an innovation person and you will get an innovation job. What is a college student saying? I want Amazon, I want Facebook, I want Netflix. What is a company saying? I want Stanford, I want Harvard. What is Deep Thought going and telling the company? You will not get Stanford, you will not get Harvard. You will get Galgotias only. And what are we? You will get LP only. Right? And what are we telling the student? You will not get Harvard, you will not get Stanford. You will get Sharma Industries, Verma Industries only. But this is a way for both to grow together.
Yeah.
That's the narrative we're trying to build. Now, why are we trying to build the narrative? Because that indifference is coming because that person is expecting something and not getting what they're expecting. You have to break that expectation first. Saying don't dream so big initially, right? Dream big, but start small.
Yeah.
And think of how to get into that innovation pathway. So, and there's no easy solution, but we're trying to, for last 2 years at least, we're trying different ways to. That's how our selection process improved. Because our selection process, always the goal was how do we change mindsets of people. So that on day one, when they join itself, we are getting a really solid person into the team. Okay. Really appreciate your patience. It's been late in the night. Glad you all stayed back. Glad you were able to join a beautiful discussion.